Chapter 4. Streets Painted Red. The sun was setting over Los Angeles, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement. The city was alive with the hum of traffic, the chatter of street vendors, and the distant wail of sirens, just another day in South Central. But for Dre, it was the calm before the storm. He had spent the last 48 hours plotting his next move, and tonight, the streets would run red. Nico Bone Martinez was the kind of man who thrived on fear. He ruled his crew with an iron fist, enforcing loyalty through intimidation and violence. But Dre knew that fear was a double-edged sword, and tonight, he planned to turn it against Nico. Dre had put out the word. There was a bounty on Nico's top lieutenants, dead or alive. It was open season, and every street soldier in South Central was gunning for a piece of the action. The first hit went down just after dusk. Carlos Trigger Reyes, Nico's right-hand man, was lounging in his car outside a strip club on Florence Avenue, counting a stack of cash when the hit squad rolled up. They were 3 deep in a beat-up Buick, guns ready, faces masked. Trigger barely had time to look up before the first bullet shattered his window, catching him in the neck. Blood sprayed across the dashboard as he slumped forward, the money scattering like dead leaves in the wind. The killers didn't stop there. They emptied their clips into the car, turning it into a metal coffin. When the job was done, they peeled out, leaving Trigger's body slumped over the steering wheel, his blood pooling on the pavement. The streets buzzed with the news. Dre had drawn first blood, and the war was officially on. Next on the list was Luis El Gato Navarro, a slick-talking dealer who handled most of Nico's West Side business. El Gato was known for his flashy style, gold chains, expensive suits, and a mouthful of diamonds. He thought he was untouchable, moving through the city with a cocky swagger that made him an easy target. Dre's crew caught up with El Gato at a nightclub on Sunset. He was in the VIP section, surrounded by women and sycophants, flashing his gold-toothed smile as he snorted lines off a glass table. Dre's hitters walked in like they owned the place, sliding through the crowd until they were right on top of him. El Gato barely had time to register what was happening before they pulled out their guns, the silenced shots barely audible over the thumping bass. El Gato's bodyguards reached for their weapons, but it was too late. The hitters were professionals, quick, efficient, and ruthless. They dropped the bodyguards before they could get a shot off, then turned their attention back to El Gato, who was trying to scramble out of his seat, his face twisted in terror. "Please, man, we can talk about this," El Gato begged, his hands raised in a futile attempt to ward off the inevitable. The lead hitter didn't flinch. He pressed the barrel of his gun against El Gato's forehead and pulled the trigger. The back of El Gato's head exploded in a spray of blood and brains, splattering the walls and the horrified faces of the clubgoers. The hitters walked out as calmly as they had come in, leaving behind a scene of chaos and carnage. News of the hits spread fast, and by midnight, the entire city was on edge. Nico's crew was reeling, their leadership decimated, their fear of Dre growing with each body that hit the pavement. But Nico wasn't the kind of man to back down. He was a predator, and predators didn't run. They hunted. Dre knew this, and he was ready. He had fortified his spots, doubled his security, and put his entire operation on high alert. But as the night wore on, Dre couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. He had learned long ago to trust his instincts, and right now, they were screaming at him. Around 2 a.m., Dre got the call. It was J-Rock, his voice low and tense. "Dre, we got a problem. Nico's crew just hit one of our spots on Vermont. They took out the whole team, 6 bodies, all of them ours." Dre's grip tightened on the phone, his blood running cold. "Did they take anything?" "Everything," J-Rock replied. "Money, drugs, guns, all gone. And Dre, they left a message." "What message?" "They torched the place, left it burning like a damn bonfire. Nico's sending a message, Dre. He's telling us he's still in the game." Dre felt a surge of anger, hot and sharp like a knife in his gut. He had expected retaliation, but this was a direct challenge, a slap in the face. Nico was playing for keeps, and if Dre didn't respond, it would be seen as weakness. And in this game, weakness was a death sentence. "All right," Dre said, his voice cold as ice. "We're gonna hit back, and we're gonna hit back hard. I want Nico's people wiped off the map. Every spot, every stash house, every street soldier. Burn it all to the ground. If he wants war, he's got it." J-Rock didn't hesitate. "I'm on it, Dre. By sunrise, the city's gonna know who runs this shit. Dre hung up, his mind racing. He knew this war would end with one of them in the ground. Nico had made it personal, and now it was about more than just business. It was about survival, about power, about respect. Dre looked out at the city, the lights twinkling in the distance like stars on the horizon. This was his jungle, his empire, and he wasn't about to let anyone take it from him. He would fight, bleed, and kill for it. And if Nico wanted to dance, Dre would lead.